Plaintiff Nicholas Pinero placed an ad on the internet to rent an apartment, and the defendants answered his ad. Nicholas claims after the defendants moved in, they were constantly having people over and smoking marijuana, and he's suing them today for unpaid rent and property damage. Defendants Alexandra Pari and her ex-boyfriend Dustin Monroe admit that they had people over from time to time, but denied that they were smoking pot in the apartment. Dustin says after Alexandra broke up with him and moved out, he tried to stay in the property, but says he was forced to move out because he couldn't afford the rent.
Prove your case.
In the beginning of July, I had to rent my apartment, and I had posted ads on Craigslist and a couple other websites. Had about 10 or 12 people come through the apartment. I lived in the house, so I want to have, people living in the house that I can, at least be on the same page with. So, met with them, called them, talked to them over the phone. A couple days later, they came and they decided to move in.
What was the agreement?
It's just a very basic lease, just a month-to-month lease.
How much?
$825 a month, and it was a $250 security deposit.
All right.
And I also agreed to take the security deposit later because of the fact that they didn't have the money to put it up for that. I wanted them to move in to get in there because I wanted to rent the apartment as soon as possible.
Okay.
Over the course of time, they always had a lot of people over. There was, late nights. They would always ask me if they were allowed. I'm 28 years old. I'm not, an old man. I don't want to have, tell them they can't live their life in the apartment. They're paying me rent. I would just ask them to respect the fact of not being too late. And smoking pot, they were having their neighbors. My neighbors were blocking their driveways. Or I should say their friends. The neighbor was blocking their driveway.
Yeah,
no, you know what I mean.
No, I don't. What?
They have a 3-car driveway that they can park in, and their friends' cars would be in the street overnight and would block my neighbor's driveways.
That's what I was trying to understand. Who was blocking whom?
Yeah.
All right. How many months did they live there?
A total of just over 6 months.
What caused them to leave?
I don't know.
Okay.
They
you all
left
want
everything.
to give me some background on this?
When we first met, like he said, over Craigslist, it was a very quick move-in. We met him. He was in a suit and tie. He seemed very professional. It was reasonable for us to pay him that amount of money, especially with everything being included. Once we moved in, he's just started.
$825 a month.
Correct.
$250 deposit at a later date.
Correct.
Did you all have a date for that later deposit to be made?
No, I believe that it was
When we had first moved in, Your Honor, I stated to Nicholas that I would pay him within the first 2 weeks the security deposit, and I did at that later date. I wrote him a check for the $250.
You have a copy of that?
I don't, Your Honor. I tried calling my bank. Unfortunately, my account's been closed, and I no longer have the copies.
Did he pay you the deposit
Yes.
later? Okay.
we did definitely have people over, as did Nicholas.
There was the occasional drinking. We didn't smoke pot
don't
ourselves.
Start that. You smoke pot.
It was a really good agreement because, like he said, he's also young. He did like to have people over. He did like to play his music loud, as did we. We're 20 years old, 21 years old. So it was a really good fit in that, and that was verbally, stated during.
Were you all disrupting the neighbors,
sir.
or
no, sir.
Were your friends blocking them in?
It did happen one time, and the neighbor came upstairs and was very nice about it. We kindly moved our car, and that was the end of it. It was never really a further problem.
Tell me why you're suing them for rent.
Because they abandoned the apartment in January. I believe it was on the 22nd. I had saw Dustin outside, and he would tell me that they were breaking up, and she was going to move back in with her mom, and basically he wasn't sure what was going to happen next month. So I said, just keep in touch with me. I want to know if you're going to move out. I'll take you. You can give me, half the month's rent next month. That way, it'll give me time to prepare to re-rent the apartment. I never saw either one of them after that day again. I mean, it's a one-family house with an in-law
So what
apartment.
months are you suing for?
I'm suing for February and March. And the reason why I'm suing for March is because I had sent out certified letters, and I have copies.
They're required to give you 30-day notice.
That's
and
what it also says in my lease.
They moved when, once again, the exact date, can you tell me? I know it was January.
The last time I heard any foot noise upstairs was on the 28th.
No, you can tell if they've moved. They have their items in or they don't.
Oh, no, they have I have pictures of everything that they left behind.
Okay, and when did they ultimately, when was it vacant?
After the 28th of January.
Okay. What's your story?
Story is a little different, Your Honor. On the 25th of January 2009, Alexandra decided that she was going to leave. We were no longer getting along, and at that point, there were items of hers left behind, as well as items of mine. On the 29th, I decided that I just couldn't afford it anymore. Now, earlier in the month, I had talked to Nick, told him that I had lost my job and I was having trouble. I didn't know if we would be able to afford the rent for the next month. By the 29th, I did state to him that I was not able to afford the rent for next month. He told me when I gave him my key to move out that he wished I had stayed. He wished I'd be able to afford it.
All right.
Your Honor,
Sir,
can I just show you the pictures of the apartment to show
that's
you
what I was going to ask. Tell me about the property damage.
If this is what moving out looks like to
Tell
you,
me
then
tell me what property damage you're suing for, sir.
they had a dog, which I allowed. It was a small dog. That dog did a ton of damage. There was rugs and linoleum floors upstairs. There's dog crap all over the floor. There was urine on the floors. I had the floors. I cleaned the floors, or the rugs, I should say. And after the rugs were dry, it still smelled terrible upstairs. So I had to call someone. They came in. They gave me a price on the job to rip up the old rugs, to sand the corners where the urine was, where there was salt damage and everything like that, and to re-rug the apartment, which I did, which I have a copy of the bill for
Let's see
that.
it.
Yep.
You all want to respond to the damage?
I have a 5-pound Chihuahua, and she was litter trained, so there was no urine or poop anywhere. And we also took the dog outside several times, which he can also agree to, because him and his fiance would have their dog outside and they would play together.
The biggest charge was bedroom
That's
manufacturer.
the bigger of the two rooms.
That's carpet. All right.
Yep.
All right.
It was
I don't
originally
believe
a
that.
blue
I don't
rug.
believe that story about your dogs have never used the bathroom. You know better
You
than
can't,
that.
I mean, even if he did litter train, come on.
So you need to be quiet.
Sorry.
When I say something and I make a conclusion that sounds like it's in your favor, leave it alone. All right, this looks reasonable that he has to replace all that. I've seen some of the damage, and I'm going to grant his judgment. I'm going to grant you 1 month's rent, not 2. They moved on the 29th. I'm going to grant your property damage, however, $1,000.
I have the breakdown here.
Isn't it what you gave me?
Yeah, no, I mean,
$1,360.
Yep, plus $115 for a maid service to come in to clean the bathroom,
Sir,
kitchen.
I'm telling you what I'm giving you. I'm not giving you a dime more. $825 for the rent. How much is that?
$2,185.
$2,185 plus $200 for the maid and another $100 for. Aren't you what you gonna tell him? Judgment as I stated. Have a good day.
He did exhibit many shady behaviors, including his fiance going out from 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. to her job, and then him having blondes and brunettes and redheads over at the house, with his loud music in his bedroom, which is only what he did with Sally. And to the one point where the blonde was going out the front and Sally's coming out in the back, so.
I have no idea what she's talking about. I very rarely have people over. I don't understand if she's saying anything about loud music. I have my radio in my basement of my house, and
Quite a loud radio to hear all the way upstairs in your faulty apartment that didn't even have 2 exits, so it's not even legal.
Well, did you see what the apartment looked like when you left it?
You're not answering my question. There's not 2 exits. It's not even legal. You gave
Yes,
us a
there
rope
is. It's a fire
rope ladder for this guy.
Fire ladder from me?